Right then, this is a quick walk around video, and this is for a Honda CR-V, and it's a 2-litre EX petrol. A manual car, it covered just 68,000 miles, and one of the nicest you'll see, I think. It is in absolutely beautiful condition. Finished in grey with a black leather interior. I'll go around the car for you as I always do. Front of the car, lights and lenses are clear and intact. There's no cracks, condensation in them. Bumper really clean. Likewise, bonnet of the car. Can't see a stench of any note on there at all. Near side, passenger side, like looking in a mirror, absolutely smooth. Near side front alloy, the ones that generally take all of the bashing. I can't see a mark on it really. Handwork, incredibly clean. Side rear alloy, as with the front, absolutely unmarked. Back bumper corners again, completely clean. It's got that kind of crispness. It's been just washed off, not polished, and yet it looks like it's sort of hand polished. It's got a real gleam to its paintwork. Offside of the car, lovely and clean. Offside rear alloy, again absolutely lovely. Main panels, just beautiful condition. It really is. Final alloy lovely there. In absolutely beautiful condition. Coming to the boot area, we've got enormous boots on the CR-Vs. Little levers on either side there, just to pull those back, and the rear seats drop down in one motion. But unlike so many CR-Vs which are very heavily used, this one's been treated rather gently. Just coming to the back now, you can see there you've got enormous amounts of leg room, and that's set for me, those front seats. I'm over 6 foot tall, so that's about as bad as it's going to be. And this is basically where any family car suffers, and yet this one's been kept incredibly clean, I have to say. Coming in the front and the passenger side, and lovely and clean passenger seat there, been given minimal amount of use. Finally coming to the driver's side, again door cut like all of them, lovely condition. Same with the footwell areas. There is a set of mats for this car, by the way. Sorry, I didn't put them in, but there is a set of mats that comes with the car. And driver's seats for a 10-year-old car, incredibly clean there. Inside the car now, as always, the engine's running here, so the dashboard can be seen illuminated. The dashboard just looks incredibly clean, virtually like new. Sat nav, you can see, working exactly as it should, and likewise rear parking camera, all functioning perfectly there. So just come to the dashboard binnacle, hopefully you can see 68,326 miles, and there are no warning lights on at all whilst the engine's running. But a very, very nice example, this one, I have to say. Finally, just to show you, owner's manual pack and lock and wheel nut key, all here and present with the car. Right then, this is a quick road test video, and this is for a Honda CR-V. It's a 2-litre EX manual. The car's registered BT13PWK, and mileage at the start of the road test is 68,326. The reason we do all of these videos, and as I always say, especially this road test section, is to ensure that if anyone's online looking at any of our cars, they get to see the very car advertised actually in operation. And the reason we feel it's important is because, unfortunately, like lots of people who've been to see cars which have looked perfectly good in photographs or description, but only to get them find out that there's a fundamental issue with the vehicle which you'd much rather have known about before setting off. So, also, by the way, done on these very quiet country roads in this lovely part of Gloucestershire. This actually forms part of the road test route, and the hope is then that it'll be representative of what you feel yourself should you be offered a test drive in the car. So coming to the car, been very, very well maintained throughout its life, and it's immediately obvious because it just is tight as a drum. Push button start on the EX models, engine starts instantly and settles to a smooth, even idle. There are no warning lights on the dashboard at all relating to the engine or any other part of the car, and temperature gauge is running at a third, which is exactly where it's meant to be on a Honda car. These are superb engines. I always say it, but it is true. Honda, in my opinion, build the best 4-cylinder engines in the world, and it's not just one single part of it. Everyone knows they're reliable, but they're incredibly reliable and very long lasting. Cam chain driven, there's no cam belts to worry about on them. But more than that, it's just a lovely engine to use day in, day out. It's flexible, it's economical. You put your foot down and it just keeps revving, and so you can use the gears and really accelerate well. But it's got a lovely smoothness to it, which sometimes you get in a car like a slightly grating engine note. This has got a very soft edge to it, but when you put your foot down, you've got that usual kind of induction that you get from the Hondas. But a wonderful engine, it really is. Engine then feeds through into the clutch and gearbox. Clutch on the car's absolutely spot on. Bite point's exactly where it's meant to be, and it's nice and smooth in operation as well. Gearbox is absolutely fantastic in these. It starts with the positioning of the gear lever mounted high up, but the actual actuation, sort of its plane sort of change or whatever they call it, it's so natural, but it's very short in throw. It's really snappy. It's got a mechanical feel to it, which is really nice. Too many cars in this category, they seem to think you've got a SUV, so they give you a almost truck-like gear change, sort of long lollopy throws. This is really snappy in action. Lovely gearbox, and that feels exactly as it would have done when it was new. There just feels zero wear on it. Coming to the steering on the car and chassis, steering tracks absolutely bullet straight. There's no vibrations at this speed or any speed up to the legal limit actually, but it's a really good power steering setup, because these aren't sports cars, they're family cars ultimately. But when you go through corners like that one there, the weighting's really good, it's accurate, it's precise, it works really well with the chassis as well, because what the chassis gives you is, it gives you a very comfortable ride. But when you go through the corners, again, unlike some, which if you go too softly sprung, they can be very comfortable, but then you go through the corners and they lollop about. So comfort's very much subjective, particularly for rear seat passengers. This has got really good body control. It means you don't get lots of secondary motions. So whether you go through tight corners, long corners, slightly quicker ones, the car actually responds really well to them. Also worth pointing out, there's no nasty sort of clonks or rattles come from underneath the vehicle. It shouldn't be there. It's all in very fine order indeed. Same with the brakes, by the way. Really nice. They're powerful, but there's no kind of pulsing or vibrations coming back through the brake pedal at all. So all exactly as they should be there as well. Finally, coming inside the car, Hondas are always well built, and CR-Vs are no different. It's just 10 years old, and it feels like it's built like a tank. Again, what Honda do, and they're very clever. They don't go for kind of headline squidgy plastics, which some manufacturers seem to think is a good idea. They tend to give you something that's going to be robust, put up with kind of the rigours of day-to-day family use, and they are fantastic in that sense. So it's just a fuel light just pinged on. But the quality of materials is very high indeed, but the assembly of them is absolutely superb. When you get in the car, first thing you notice is you've got really good visibility all around on the vehicle, so you feel very confident jumping in these cars. Dash layout itself is really nicely done. Even though it's a very highly equipped car, it's not a car that you get in and you're phased by a couple of days in the car and you've pretty much mastered it. Really, it's that easy to come to terms with, and all working absolutely perfectly. Sat nav, as you can see, you've got dual zone climate control systems, so you can have different temperatures side to side on the vehicle. The air conditioning is pumping out absolutely ice cold air, and it's quite a warm, muggy day today, so it's quite nice to have it working as it is. All the controls, of course, have that lovely actuation and really high quality damped feel that Honda give you with these things. Every switch, everything you press, is sort of a satisfying feel of engineering, and this is no different. The dash binnacle in front is typical Honda again. It's really nicely detailed and labelled, so it's not overly fussy. It's just giving you the information and no more really. You've got a information pod in the middle, so if you want to, you can sort of scroll through different pieces of information at some point. It's quite handy. Not honestly, I've derided it, but it is quite handy. Then you've got this lovely small diameter leather bound steering wheel, which, like the rest of the interior, is absolutely in lovely condition, because this car has been kept beautifully. It really has. Finally, just to say, this is a four-wheel drive version of the CR-V, because not all of them are, but there are no buttons or nothing to press or turn or to activate the four-wheel drive, because it does it automatically. Honda worked out really quickly that the vast majority of its customers would be doing as I am today, just driving in perfectly good conditions where you don't need four-wheel drive on. So basically it runs pretty much the whole time in front-wheel drive only, two-wheel drive, which is the most efficient way to pull a car along. If it needs to go into four-wheel drive, it'll do so itself. If you put your foot down on snow, mud, ice, or accelerate really hard, it'll sense it through the traction control system much more quickly than you could do yourself, and smoothly and imperceptibly bring in the four-wheel drive. It's incredibly efficient in the way it operates. We've always got a CR-V in the family, always have a four-wheel drive one because we tow a caravan, and we've never come close to getting stuck with one. The advantages of it running it in that way are very simple. You're going to use less fuel as a result of it. You're going to put less stress mechanically through the car, and you get through tyres less quickly as well. So it's a kind of a win-win. We've been selling CR-Vs in one way or another for nearly 30 years now, and I can't think of a single one we ever put a spanner on the four-wheel drive system. So it is incredibly robust, helped by the fact that it's not been used the whole time, of course. As I said at the start of the video, the point of it literally is just to show the car operating and to feedback any obvious issues. There's nothing, absolutely nothing at all. It drives absolutely beautifully. As always, if you've got any questions, don't hesitate, do give us a call.